Hello everyone, welcome to another video. So guys, in this video we are going to take a look into how to set up the database connectivity into our Django application, and we are going to deploy it into AWS. And most probably you will be having your own application with the database, everything working in local. But for the demo purpose, I have created a simple database model so that I can demonstrate how it works, and then we can ensure that in the production, like when we deploy into AWS, we are sure that it works as well. So the project that I have used, it's the same project that we were using for our previous two videos. So here I have added a new path which is save to DB. As you can see here, it's a save to DB, and it takes a argument, it takes a parameter called name, and that is handled by a function which is present inside the views, and the function is named save to DB. And then I have added another path that is just for the home page, because when the project was loading, it was showing 404 page before, but I have just added a path so that it says that there is a you have arrived in the correct place. Yes, so let's go and see what happens in the save to DB function, and that is defined inside the views file. As you can see here, we have a views file. Yep. So inside this, as you can see, it takes a parameter called name, just like our hello function. It takes a name and then it tries to create something. Okay, and it says that name.objects.create, and it takes a parameter, a named parameter with the name itself, and then what it tries to do is it gets some count, and then it simply try to return an HTTP response saying that you have inserted a name successfully, and it returns the count that we got from line number 12. Yes, let's dive deeper into what's going on here. Probably if you are familiar with Django and its database operation, you can skip this section, but let's go ahead. So actually the name, it comes from a file called models. Okay, it comes from a module called models, and that models I have created a new file, and inside that we have a class. It takes a model parameter, and then it does something here. So let's see what it is exactly. Django is an MVT based framework, so which is saying that model, view and template, or MVC also you can say that in a sense. But what happens is that model contains all the data and the business logic, meaning it may sound complicated to you if you are a beginner, but basically if you have a model, that means a model represents a table from the database. It is not an exact definition, but you can think of a model as a database table. So we have named our class as name, meaning that we have a name table, and inside that two columns are there. One is ID and one is name, and ID in the database, I have specified it as a primary key, so it will be auto field. Models.auto field means it will be automatically incremented. And then I have a name column, and it's a character field, and maximum length is 200. That's it, only two columns, and we are only interested in the name actually. Yes, so we have a model now, and then from the view we are saying that create a new object, meaning create a new record in the name table or name model, and then it tries to fetch the count. Okay, how many records are there in total in the table, in the name table, and then return it in the response. That's it, very simple. Let's see this thing in action, but before that we need to do some more configuration. We need to tell that okay, we need to use a specific database, whether it's MySQL, PostgreSQL, or Oracle, whatever. I chose Postgres as our database backend because in my Mac there was a Postgres installation already. If you have MySQL, you can choose that as well, but in this example I have Postgres for the example. So let's go to settings.py, and there is a databases section, and we have default. if it's a default installation in your case, if it's a fresh installation, you will be seeing the engine as SQLite. When you are specifying a separate database like Postgres or MySQL, you have to save the configuration here in the settings.py. Okay, so in the default section I changed the engine as Django DB backends Postgres, and name, user, password, and host, and the port. So when you install Postgres, you will be getting all this information, and then you have to go ahead and create a database in it, and then you have to create a user in it, set a password, and then you have to grant this user all the permissions for the newly created database. Otherwise this won't work. So I hope you got it covered. Otherwise, a quick Google how to set up database in Postgres with user will fetch you all the results. So I am not telling you how to create database in Postgres. So basically, I already have a Postgres database. I have a user and I have a password, and the username is Django and the password is also Django, and the database name is Postgres itself. So I have this database setup already. So let me show how it looks in the database level. So I have a tool called PG Admin. So it's a graphical user interface that you can use to easily manage any Postgres database instance. So I have it running here, and then I go to servers, local hosts, databases, and I have a database called Postgres, and I open it and go to schemas, and inside the public, and then there is tables. So I click here. So as you can see, the tables is empty. There is nothing inside the tables. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to migrate the changes, migrate the database tables into the actual database, the Postgres database that we have created. So the thing is, inside the models file we have specified as ID name, it is an auto increment field, it's a char field, and this needs to be migrated, meaning it needs to be persisted in the actual Postgres database. Let's do it. So we need to run few commands as follows. I am running python manage.py make migrations test project. So what I'm saying is that go into the test project tab and then create the migrations for those models. Now the migrations has been run, and it says that migration for test project, and that has been created with create model name. Some name has been already generated, and then you can see a new folder got created which is called migrations, and inside that there is an init.py and then 001 initial.py. Inside that some code is there. So this is the actual code to create the table structure and all those things in the actual database. Probably most of the time we don't have to mess with these things, so I was just explaining what are the things associated with it. Yes, so now we have the migrations present. Now we need to migrate it, and while migrating, so you have seen only one migration here, but while migrating there will be more migrations. Why? Because Django has admin set up by default, so it has an admin interface by default, and there are some tables associated with it. Django ships with a built-in user authentication mechanism with user models and all those stuff, and that you can see in the settings.py. So if you go into the installed apps section, you can see that the test project, and that is a name that we have used here as well, because that is the app that we have created. And then there is multiple apps, admin, auth, content type, session, messages, static files, and all those stuff. And because of the admin authentication, this contains migrations built in, and while migrating you might see that as well. So in order to migrate the changes, after making migrations, after making the migration files, you need to migrate it, and that command is python manage.py migrate. Simple. See, as you can see, there is a lot of files. So you can see that this got migrated, it's applying, and after that it applied content types, admin, all these tables got created. So let's go to pg admin and see what are the new files that got, new tables that got created. And then I'm coming to table and click refresh, and there is few things, and there is a plus button. I click that plus button, you can see that the name table got created. So I'll right click on it, view edit data, and then you can see that the table got created, ID and name. And then there is other tables such as auth user. So it has like ID, password, username, and all those stuff. We are not interested in those at this moment. We are only interested in this test project name. I mean the name table. And this test project will be appended because a Django application can consist of multiple applications. A single Django project can have multiple apps. That's what the Django called, the multiple modules. And each of the tables created inside, each of the models created inside the app will be, the table names will be prefixed with the app name. So we have created the name model, and that model is present inside the test project app. And because of that, the table name is named as test project underscore name. I hope you get the point, right? So we are only interested in this table. So let's go here, and as you can see, it's empty as of now. Let's go to our project. Let's run our project. So I am running the server, python manage.py run server. Okay, now it's running. Let's go localhost 8000, and it says that you have reached the home page because I added a new path for that one. And then I go to save to db, and then I give my name, show. So it says that you have inserted a name successfully and count equals to 1, and then I am giving something like Joy. So it says a count equals to 2, and then what else, like John, it says count equal to 3. Let's go to pg admin and see what are the changes there. So I click on it, view edit data, and then again, or I can click this button, it will also work. See, as you can see, 3 new records have been inserted. So this is our application. It simply takes a value, it inserts into database. No validation, nothing, no complexities, no complex tables, no foreign keys, nothing. And how to design your database, like how to design your tables, it's a big topic by itself. But what I'm trying to do in this video is like, I'll just create a table, I insert some data, and I deploy it into AWS. And I think most of you guys are also interested in that stuff on, right? Let's go ahead and deploy this application into AWS. Yes, and now I have logged into my AWS console. Let's create a database instance, and that too a Postgres database instance. So for that, you have to go to services and then go to this database section, click on the RDS. So we are in the AWS RDS console, and then I am clicking on the create database. So click on the create database, and then like what kind of database you need. So Amazon Aurora is a new service offered by Amazon, which is like MySQL and PostgreSQL compatible, both compatible, but for now we will stick to Postgres. You can choose any database that you are running. Then only enable options eligible for RDS free tier usage, because I'm in free tier. You can check that, or if you are in a real production environment, you might not want to check the checkbox, right? Click on next, and then what is the license mode engine. If you are on a specific Postgres, you can select that one. So as of now 11 is released, but I will stick to this 10, Postgres 10. And then what is the instance, and this is the database instance which is offered on the free tier. So I choose that one, and then allocated storage 20 GB. 20 GB is too much for us at this point because this application is so silly. So I need to give an identifier. So I'll say that is like Django AWS demo. and then master username. So as of now I'll create a username. That will be, I created one username. Start with the letter, must contain 1 to 63 alphanumeric characters. So that is my username, and then a password. So I will put one password. Okay, you need to save this password, and using this password you need to create a separate user and a separate database, and then grant that user with all the permissions on the newly created database. That we will do right now. I'm clicking on next. It's asking for some network related settings, and it, as of now, it's default VPC. If the EC2 instance and the database instance are in the same VPC, then only we will be able to communicate between those servers. So as of now I just keep it as it is. Everything public accessibility. So it's saying that should be able to access the instance outside the VPC, meaning I can connect AWS system, AWS database from my own PG admin instance. I can administer all those servers from the PG admin if I enable this public accessibility. Otherwise this will be only accessible inside the VPC, meaning the EC2 instance you have can access these things. As of now I will enable this because we can connect them. So depending on the security of your application, you might want to check no or yes, depends. So no preference. So choose existing VPC group. So I use default one, and then I need to create a database, and that will be test project TV, and then port is 5432, and that is correct, and this is specific to IAM. Only contain letters, numbers. Okay, no dashes. And while creating this you might want to save it somewhere. Okay, and if you are using Amazon IAM, then you can enable, depends on your case, but as of now I'll keep disabling it. And backup retention, all these are specific related specific use cases. If you want your database to be backed up every 7 days, it's okay, but I just keep them as it is. So this is maintenance, auto or minor version. So if 10.6.8 is released, and then it will be automatically upgraded. So I just keep the minor versions will be minor update enabled. You can choose to disable this, and it won't be upgraded automatically from 10 to 11. Rather, it will be updated in the minor versions. And then I just keep everything as it is. Enable deletion protection. Yes, and then I am creating the database. So I have created a default database and a master username, master password as well. It says still working. Let's wait for a moment. Yes, it's saying that the DB instance is being created, and then let's go and click on view DB instance details. So you can see the data here. VPC is 9D2 and the Postgres is 10.6, and then the storage, and then master user password that you cannot see. So these are the details that we have as of now. Now I am back in this database console. So it's saying that it's creating. So once it created, we can try connecting to this database. Meanwhile, we can just pull the latest code into our Amazon instance, and let's SSH into our database instance. So let us connect into our EC2 instance. So this is how I log into my instance. I'm logged in, and then I go to this project directory, and then I update the latest code. You can see it's in AWS demo, and then I have all the setup here, and then I do a git pull. So the latest code has been updated, and even for you also the code I have it's present in the GitHub. If you want to follow them, you can use that one as well. And there are a few things to edit in the file again. Why? Because in the settings.py we have specified few things, database name and other stuff here, and these are all local credentials, and we need to update it for the production. So what I will do is I will go and I will edit it from the project directory manually. So I am here, so I will go to test project and then I am going to edit it from here. So basically in a real life scenario, what you will be doing is like you will be using some environment variables so that the password and password, username and all those things are set in the env file. It will be loaded automatically if it's in production, if it's in staging, or if it's in local, it loads appropriately. But in this case I will edit it manually. Vi settings.py. I will go to databases, yes, and I am here. So I will add the database name. That's a database that we have created, and the user is Postgres and the password is, and now the host and the port. Here the host is 127.0.0.1, that is local host. That will be true only in the case if the web server and the database server is in the same machine. But in our case, Amazon RDS is a separate instance, separate server, so we need to get its host name and the port. So I am here, so I'll just refresh, say it's available. I will click on it and then I will go here and I can see the host name. Yes, now it says the endpoint and port. As you can see here, it's endpoint and port. And now I copy this, so this is the host name. I copy this and I will come and I will paste this, and now the port is 5432. That is correct. Now the database name has been given, the engine is given, the username, password and the host, and the port is also given. So now we are kind of good to go. Let's see what happens when we try to do the make migrations command. Let's go back, Python manage.py make migrations test project. Sorry, the environment is not yet activated, so let's activate that. Source vpin activate. Now the env has been activated. Let's run the make migrations command. Now it says improperly configured, error, loading psy copg module. So this is one thing that I wanted to mention. In order to interact with the Postgres database, you need to install a Python module or a Django Python module called psy copg. Now you need to install the psy copg2 module. So basically in a real life scenario, you will be installing all the modules, you will be specifying all the modules in the requirements.txt file, and then you give that file to pip. So pip will fetch all the dependencies and it will install itself. But as of now, I will manually install it. So using pip install psy copg2. Okay, it says instead of downloading the source, you can try installing the binary itself. So pip install, let's try this. Okay, now psy copg2 binary is installed. So let's try to run the migrations again. Password authentication failed for user Postgres. Okay, now it means that the username is not correct and the password is not correct. So let's try to find the username and password for this thing, for our database instance. Okay, we are back to the AWS console, database RDS console. So I come here in our Django AWS demo instance, and I come monitoring, it's not there, log configuration. So basically we have database name that we have given correctly. Okay, availability, master username. So this is what we need to take. Okay, so this is just snake cased. So this has been snake cased, the database instance ID. So I use that as the username. So I'll come here. And edit the settings.py again. cd test project vi settings.py, go to databases, and then insert the username is Django AWS demo. That is the username, master username. Save it. Let's run the migrations again. Cannot open file. Okay, sorry, go back. Run the code for migrations again. Now it says migrations has been created. Now we need to migrate it. Let's do it using the command python manage.py migrate. Now that has been migrated, right? Now we are good to go. Let's restart our server. Sudo service nginx restart, so that the new files will be loaded. So let's go to our EC2 instance and let's see what's happening there. Going to EC2, and this is our running instance, and this is our DNS. I'll copy this. Let's see what's going on. So I come here, page not found. Actually we have updated the home page, right? Okay, it's not loaded, right? I think we need to restart the Gunicon that runs the Django application. Sudo supervisor ctl reload. So supervisor D restarted. Let's restart the nginx also. Let's see what's going on here. Yes, now it's been updated. So basically you need to restart the Gunicon, using the supervisor. You need to restart the running Gunicon instance. Then only it will reload the files. So yep, let's go to hello Harry. It goes to hello Harry, and it goes to, let's go. So these were the things that we have done previously. So let's go to save to DB section, show B. Yes, you have inserted a name successfully. Then I will do Harry. Now it's been 2. Now it's been John. Now we have successfully inserted 3 records. So basically guys, this is how we connect to a database instance in AWS and then run the queries on it. So I haven't touched the Django part on how do you create a model, how do you create the database columns, what are the different columns, that I haven't touched. So the sole purpose of this video was to demonstrate how to connect to Amazon RDS and insert a record in the database. I hope this video made a difference. If you like this video, share it with your friends. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. If you want a new video, just comment it. Whatever your doubts, just comment it. I will try to fix the issue that you might be facing. So actually in the past few weeks, many people have contacted me personally via comments or people via email. So I have tried to help them using TeamViewer if I had time. So thank you guys. Thank you for watching. We will see in another video.